And then I realised something which I thought was interesting. So when we're working with trauma brains, like when that's how I'm thinking and what I'm thinking with, something being useful or functional is like the best thing in the fucking world. That's like the highest honor, the highest level of importance that something can possibly fucking have is useful, functional. Like how when speaking about processing grief, it's very mechanical to me right now because it's a learning process for us. It is and it isn't, you know, it's like, it's the crossover. It's the point where mechanical, functional seems to meet embodied, emotional, kind of spiritual, like meaningful. It's this wild mix of two completely different worlds that I'm just starting to experience, and I notice I start to query whether or not I should feel uncomfortable. Like parts of me think it's not exactly like I feel uncomfortable, because if I felt uncomfortable I wouldn't do it. Parts of me feel like we should. Feel like maybe we should feel uncomfortable sharing some of the stuff we share. But then other parts feel like this is, I think this is a vastly damaging element of society, that these things are not talked about, they're not accepted. Like, you can have people give a tutorial of like the ins and outs of what it's like to heal recovering from a broken leg, and there's no shame attached, generally speaking. But when it's how to heal your brain and your emotions and like your nervous system and all of this stuff that we equally have no control over, and I don't think there should be any shame attached for, but it seems like there is, and like it's stuff that doesn't seem to feel like it should be publicly talked about. Maybe that's just how we were raised, with emotions not really being like publicly displayed things, but I think that a lot of people get it like that as well. And I think that it's really quite damaging, and I think that it would be a lot better if we could speak openly and in a real way with real emotions. So it's like this kind of crossover tone where there's like these different parts experiencing different things. And this is what made me think, for someone in survival mode, useful and productive are like the most important things there are. There isn't a level higher. Not for me, for us anyway. And then when starting to develop emotional capacity to rewire for connection and for feeling embodied emotions and learning to prioritize comfort, productive and useful I actually end up being a little bit like rough feeling and like mechanical in a, like they can feel dismissive of emotions if I prioritize productive and useful over our comfort. That would not be healthy. But if I'm working in survival mode, we can't feel our discomfort or our comfort, so I have to work with what's functional and useful until I've repaired enough to get to a level of being able to feel comfort. And then it's like I can prioritize our comfort instead of our productivity or our usefulness. But it's like these two different ways of seeing things and prioritizing things, and like your priorities will really change, I think, depending on what state of mind you're approaching something and viewing it from, because mine has. And I just thought that was like a really interesting and potential room for miscommunication type deal, and I wanted to kind of bring it up, having noticed it.